Welcome back to Midnight Grappler Animals, home of Flub Nation. I'm your host, Lan, and with me I've got an amateur archaeologist, Keigen. What are we unearthing today?
You know what? We're unearthing a thing about a biracial archaeologist who also is has some dad stuff. That's what we're doing.
What if a Asian archaeologist had autistic swag? Yeah. That's like my first note that I've taken for Master Keaton.
It's a good one.
Yeah, we're covering Master Keaton this week in Manga May. It is one of, but not the first, books that Naoki Urasawa wrote. Came out in the late 80s, I believe around 1987. It was co-written by Takashi Nagasaki, who is a very frequent collaborator with Naoki Urasawa, as well as Hokusei Katsushika, which is a name that you might not have heard of, and that's okay. On Wikipedia, Hokusei Katsushika is it has no link associated with it, unlike Nagasaki.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and there's a lot more to say about that later, but yeah, we got this isn't a perfect edition, is it? It's just a regular
It's
release.
Weird, though. It's like a double size still. It's not the perfect.
It's a Viz signature, so it is one of their like premier, it's bigger than your average volume of manga, but it is nice. I've got a copy of it. Unlike the other books that we've read, or the other books for the episodes I've been on, at least, because I wasn't on last week.
Yeah. I've never read a better book, a book with higher quality than this.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, this is the first book that we're covering where I don't own all the available volumes.
Oh, there we go.
So thankfully, we don't have to run into the same issue we had with Golden Kamuy, where I have every single volume, but I've only read like a few.
I know this is my first volume of this, my first anything Master Keaton also, so I'm not like, this is the first one either one of us have been on anyway, where we're like, not one of us isn't going, I've read more of this and it gets better or whatever.
So you've never read anything from Master Keaton prior to this?
Right. I have like 4 volumes, but they're random.
You own.
I own 4. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. The turns have tabled.
It's not 1 through 4 though. I only get them randomly if I'm like buying something from thrift books or in stock trades, and then one of them is available at a really low price because I'm like, eventually I'm gonna want to read all this. But so it's very random, very like what's available at that time that I'm all like. And for in stock trades, it's like what can get me over the shipping, what can get me free shipping, basically. So.
Right. Yeah, I think I picked this up. I think there was like a buy 2 get 1 free deal at a shop somewhere, and I was like, oh, I guess I can just pad this out with Master Keaton. So I just got the first volume. But yeah, there's 18 volumes to get for this, so that's 17 more to go for me at least.
Yeah, 14 more for me. So
yeah.
Better get to it.
Well, it's funny. It's not as unavailable as I initially thought it would be. Like, maybe 4 years ago it would have been, but I think with Asadora popping off, that gave them reason to probably go back and reprint more copies of Master Keaton. Now, I wish what that actually meant was that they would go back and localize some of the other books that they hadn't localized prior, like Yoara or Happy. Or Billy Bat, We're always waiting for Billy Bat. But hey, if you know French.
I was looking when we were looking for this because we were trying to figure out how to get everybody to be able to read it. And so I was looking at the digital options, and I'm like, can't someone just like make all the because like the digital Japanese options from from Urasawa are really good. It's a bunch of stuff that's like I want to read, and I'm like, can't somebody just do it? Like, can't somebody just do it for free? Like, you're doing it for One Piece. Can't you do it for Billy Bat, please? And make it actually available, because it's like so difficult to find even like bad translations of that stuff.
Yeah, unless you know French.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
The French got everything. You know
what,
even Master...
you know what, Len? Stun on these hoes. Okay, go ahead.
Do you notice me? Do you notice me? Yeah, I mean, even if you're reading Master Keaton, the last, well, technically last volume, Master Keaton Remaster, which is a follow-up that Nagasaki and Urasawa did in 2011, I believe, that's not available in English. Like, that's the only piece of Master Keaton material that hasn't been localized yet, except in French. So, I think the moral of the story here is just learn French, you know? If you learn French, we never have to run into any of these problems. It's so readily available in France. I could probably go into any manga shop in France and there'd probably be like a full set of Master Keaton volumes.
Oh, how the turns table.
Oh, how the turns have tabled. Yeah, so this is probably the earliest Urasawa work that both of us have read. Mm-hmm. What were your first impressions?
Like, it took a while. It took a minute for me to get into this, is my first impression, which it's funny because as I got deeper into the book, I was like, actually, I think this is kind of like 20th Century Boys too. Where it's like this pacing is the same. And so, you know, it also was realizing, yeah, Nagasaki's on this. Like, it is the same team. And so it makes sense that the pacing is like this. And yeah, I mean, that was really my immediate first impressions were that, and then also just like noticing the art. You know, obviously he's gotten better, but in particular the design of Master Keaton is so different, or of whatever Keaton. He's very different from any other Urasawa protagonist I've seen. Right, between Monster, 20th Century Boys, Asadora, or even in Sneeze. Like very like way more boyish and doughy in his face, you know. Very interesting.
The nose especially is very round compared to a lot of his protagonists.
Yeah. And so those were kind of my immediate things were like, this is not engaging me. Like, this is really kind of boring. And then also like, and the design is very very specific to the book, because even like across 20th Century Boys and Monster, there's a lot. I mean, they were being made around the same time, but a lot of similarities in the art and in the character design that isn't as apparent in this volume.
I mean, even like aside from Keaton himself, a lot of the other designs feel very crystallized already. Like a lot of the European characters, like you could probably take most, if not all of them, and then
all look the same.
Yeah, I mean, you could take most, if not all of them, and then put them right into Monster, and you wouldn't notice a difference, right? Yeah. I think, like Keaton himself is very unlike other male protagonists that Urasawa's drawn, but you know, like otherwise, I think a lot of his art has been pretty full formed. Like I think the lines are a bit softer overall. You know, it doesn't feel like, especially early on in the book. But yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of the techniques, like when we were talking about Asadora, we were talking about how like his art, not that it hasn't changed, but it had like I said before, crystallized, right? I think it's a testament to the art style that like there really isn't much you can do to refine it. You know, it came out the womb almost fully formed in a way.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too. I mean, in North American comics, I tend to prefer I tend to prefer guys who have a much simpler line, you know, like Somni is a good example.
Mm-hmm.
And Somni's style has changed a ton since, you know, his early days, that Ultimate Spider-Man book, the Captain America stuff he did. Looks so like way different than what he's doing on Batman and Robin now. And that's because like you continue to simplify and you figure out how to simplify in different ways. But Urasawa is not like, he's not about that life. And so like I think it makes sense that it's stayed more similar for longer, because it's like he's not doing it like that, you know. And so it's like you get more used to where you put your lines for a face. And, you know, again, just like in Asadora, talking about the landscapes, like he puts a ton of detail into things like coastlines, you know, the Rebel and coastlines, or like walls. He'll do brick walls.
Mm-hmm.
And it's insane the amount of detail he puts into everything. And so I think it makes sense that it looks so familiar still.
Yeah. I mean, with this, there's also the fact that like he was also working on Yoara at the time. But with the fact that he was like bouncing between the two books, I think there are elements that you could tell were like handed off to assistants, or like the backgrounds, especially like comparing the backgrounds in Asadora to the backgrounds in Master Keaton, you can see that there's a bit of a difference there.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, in terms of first impressions, I think I had gotten a solid idea from reading Monster. You know, like, I think the thing that perplexed me the most was the fact that this was about an insurance investigator.
Yeah.
I think when I read the summary for it, I was like, okay, that's an interesting... But how is he gonna do anything, you know? And even like, going into that first chapter, I was like, okay, so he's an insurance investigator. What's the catch? And then the catch is revealed. Yes, he's former military. He's got like crazy skills, you know. So that's when I realized, like, oh yeah, okay, that's what we're doing here. The other aspect of it was the Golgo 13 influence, because there are 3 names on this cover. It's Naoki Urasawa, Takashi Nakazaki, and Hokusei Katsushika, which is one of the many pen names of Hajime Kimura, who did do some writing on Golgo 13. And that's a whole debate. Is the provenance of the storytelling in this book, specifically related to like who was coming up with the stories. Like I mentioned, you know, Urasawa was working on both this and Yoara at the same time. So, you know, they had to juggle the storytelling duties with other writers, which is when Katsushika was brought in. And then Katsushika died in 2004, after which Urasawa started to claim that Katsushika had actually dropped out of writing the story partway through, and that by the end of the original run, it was basically just Urasawa coming up with the stories. Now, Nagasaki is an interesting one because, you know, Urasawa and Nagasaki have worked together on a ton of different books. Monster, Pluto, Billy Bat. You know, like Nagasaki's a ride or die for Urasawa in many ways. So it's, for me, as someone who's read Golgo 13 and coming into this from having read Urasawa's other books, I think part of the exercise here was trying to figure out like which parts are Urasawa / Nagasaki and which parts are that Katsushika Golgo 13 influence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, as somebody who hasn't read Golgo 13 but has, you know, done 20th Century Boys, done Monster, I see a lot of similarities with this and 20th Century Boys, especially in particular, where like the book doesn't get good until it gets its cast together.
Yeah.
And that's where the book is the best. And so like the mission stuff in this volume is not as fun to me as the dad stuff in the volume. And that's kind of that's reflected in a lot of his other series too. Like even Monster, as much as Monster has like the main three put together by the second chapter, I think that's figured out.
It's by the well, no, I think it's by the first chapter even.
Yeah, like by the end, and there's like time skips super early in that series. Like that book does not wait to do the Urasawa time skip, but like, it's got those main characters put in place, but it's not until later where, you know, the ex-fiance, you've got the kid, you've got other you've got the reporters and stuff like that. That book really feels like it's working. And 20th Century Boys manages the cast a little bit better even than that, I think. Where this is like, you know, there's a couple chapters where I'm just like, oh yeah, this is the shit I want, and then there's other stuff that's just like, all right, he's just doing stuff, which is cool, and it's not bad, but it's like I know what I go to Urasawa for basically at this point, I think.
I mean, in terms of an overarching plot, like the difference here is that this leans much more towards that sort of episodic vibe that a lot of older people manga, seinen manga, was aiming for at the time. You know, like this kind of stuff that if I was a businessman in the bubble era, you know, I'd just be on my way to work to make my billion racks of yen. I'd be picking up I think this ran in Big Comic Spirits. No, this ran in I forget where this ran. Anyway, I'd be picking this up, and this would just be like a quick thing for me to read. And the stories are formatted much in that way. Like that's where I think the Golgo 13 influence hits the most, is like this is a quick short thing that you can consume on your way to work, or if you've got some free time. It doesn't really feel nearly as serialized as any of the other Urasawa works that I've read. So it is interesting to see, you know, like when those serialized elements come in, like when characters pop up again, when a story beat from one issue actually carries over into the next, and even when it does those like 2-parters or 3-parters, you know, that's always a bit interesting to me, because it's like breaking the pattern that's basically been set for this kind of story in the 80s.
Yeah, it almost feels too like Urasawa, you know, he's obviously working with other people on this. I think if you read Monster and then you read this, you would know, like, okay, look, he's developing things in this that eventually will affect this. And I think with that, you can kind of see what he picks up from this and what he like doesn't really do anything with. You know, because even you have one-shot chapters of Monster, especially Monster, that are very important to the whole, but also might not matter for like 100 chapters. Like, might not really influence anything for not 100
until
chapters,
that
but
one
like not until
comes
way
back
later
near the end, and you're like, oh crap, it's
been forever. You know? Like, oh, of course, yeah. And so it's like, I can see that, and it's the kind of thing where I'm like, okay, I want to read more of this so that I see if anybody pops up in volume 18. So
I want to know, does he get back with his ex-wife? Does he find a new lover? You know, like,
totally.
I think that's what keeps people reading, especially in the modern day. You know, like, I think this is the kind of book that probably could have gone on for quite some time just by sheer momentum back in the 80s. And even the early 90s, but I think the serialized elements is what keeps it refreshing, going back to it 30 something years down the line. But yeah, I mean, let's do this chapter by chapter. This is one of the few books actually that we're covering. Actually, no, wait, hold on. I think this is the only book that we're covering for Manga May where we can actually break it down chapter by chapter because of how the stories are told, I guess.
Yeah, it makes more sense. Asadora was hard to do that way.
Yeah. I mean, Asadora, you could break it down, but it was more so like as parts of one contiguous story. This is like there's a very clean break between chapter 1 and chapter 2. I think
if we had done volumes 1 and 2 of Asadora, it would make more sense to do chapter by chapter because of where it goes. But yeah.
All right, so chapter 1 starts with a former mercenary falling to his death, which requires Taichi Haraga Keaton, our insurance investigator, to go to Greece to investigate. Antics ensue, and we find out that Mr. Keaton has much more than seems to nope, I'm getting my more than meets the eye. Yeah, there we go.
He's a transformer?
He's a transformer.
Oh my god. Baga.
See, that's the catch. Can you imagine like a comic where it starts off with like a very mundane salary
like
man,
a normal guy.
Just a normal guy, and then like as the story progresses, like halfway through, it's like, oh, I need to get out of this situation. He just starts transforming, turns into a car, and like starts driving up the walls, and you're like, holy shit, where the hell did that come from?
This is some manga, baby.
Yeah, Shonen Jump. If you're willing to, Viz Media, if you're willing to hear me out, I'm right here. Yeah, that was the first chapter. It's basically like a very short
pilot episode.
Yeah, it's a pilot episode. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that's probably because he loved the world of antiquity like I do. So he's way lamer in these early chapters, I think. But I get that it's also the autistic swag.
Yeah. It's a solid intro chapter. Like it's nothing too special. I think it does a good job of introducing ourselves to like what to expect, I guess, at a very base level. Like there's gonna be some kind of issue that has to deal with archaeology in some respect, and Keaton has to be the one to fix things. Like that's probably the base descriptor for every chapter we're gonna be talking about. But yeah, it's a solid first chapter. Nothing too special, Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Anything else for this first chapter?
No, I mean it's fun. Like I feel like the bit has to run cold at some point, but the like. Yeah, we were both in training in the SAS at the same time. I helped train you or whatever is fun. Like, it's very Burn Notice. It's very bad USA drama that you watch every episode of because it's actually pretty good. Very Reacher would be maybe the other.
Reacher. Ooh, yeah, this would be very Reacher, yeah.
Yeah. Did you watch Burn Notice?
No, I didn't. Okay.
Burn Notice is very proto Reacher. But like 100 episodes a year, like they did a ton.
Right.
And this is kind of in that same vein, that sort of thing. This is another thing reading this. I was like, this is way more of a dad comic than any other Urasawa I've read. Which I've heard people call Urasawa comics dad comics. I don't quite get it. This one does make sense though. This could totally be a USA drama. It basically is.
Yeah. Like this is a dad comic. First and foremost, I think this is the cultural meeting point for the East and the West is Master Keaton and Reacher.
Yeah. Perfect. We could create world peace.
Yeah, just world peace is just giving everyone a copy of Master Keaton.
Yeah. We need another. Like, we need like a third thing to bridge other people's. But you know what? This is just step one. This is the beginning.
Listen, to get world peace, we need to unite the dads of the world.
Yeah, first and foremost, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
and that's not a patriarchal mindset, It's just that
because the aunties are already pretty much there,
Right, the dads are the more primal, primitive beasts. They're the ones that actually need more convincing.
More work. It takes more work.
Yeah, Takes more work. So yeah, you got to start at the bottom before you go up top.
Exactly. Matriarchy. That's what we're talking about today.
All right, chapter 2. I keep saying Master Keaton investigates a missing student with potential JRA ties. If you haven't listened to our episode about the JRA movie / propaganda film, it's awesome. Go listen to that episode. I think it's episode 117 if we're looking at numbers. Impressive. Yeah, I got that. I got the we're not doing that. We're not doing that bit again. Yeah, I think this chapter has a lot of interesting uses of traced over references, like more than any other background in this book. I think this chapter has the most where you can really tell that the backgrounds were traced over existing reference images.
Yeah, I mean, buildings are hard to, like, there's very specific buildings toward the end too. The Germany, there's a German something, I don't know, that they're harder to do without tracing, and I get it. It's a lot of lines. Like, so I do get it. And you know, I like seeing buildings. Like Urasawa's comics very frequently have like very complex buildings in them, on like, you know, a third of the page, and it's like they're cool to see. I'm okay with the tracing on them, I guess.
Yeah. Like when it's background work, it's whatever, you know. Like, I think if you can masquerade, it's also much easier to mask it in black and white than it is when you actually have to like color that stuff in. So like, you know, posterizing it, you know, the example I always think of is in Photoshop, because you just go to posterize, you set it to like 4, and then you set the threshold really low so that it like retains the basic structure, but like all the finer details have been shaved off. Granted, that didn't exist when this book came out, so
Photoshop had a name. It was Greg. He was in the corner of the office. He took care of that stuff. Yeah,
Greg Haraga Keaton, the Asian at the back of the office.
Yeah, he's also biracial.
Yeah. Shout out to the biracial people of the 80s. They kept the world moving.
Everyone believed that was the future, you know. They thought it was going to be a race blind.
I do want to talk about that, actually, because, like, you know, we see this with Monster, you know, like an Asian guy in Germany. You know, even Pluto is like, you've got a German guy in Japan, but then you have Adam coming over, which is technically an artificial Japanese boy in Germany. Urasawa just loves his Asians in Europe.
He does.
But it's... I think the fact that he's Asian is an extra layer here that makes it a bit funnier. I think it pays off later in the book, but early on, you know, it becomes a question of like, okay, he's Asian.
Why is he Japanese? Like, really, early on, it's very much like, why is he also Japanese? I get that it's a manga, but like, he could just be British. Like,
British guy in Japan. You know, white guys have existed in Japan for quite some time. You know, I'm just saying.
Quite. No, you know what? Mentioning that too, though. This book, all of his books, I love Urasawa's way of like making a thing about the whole world somehow is so cool. Every one of his books I've read, right? 20th Century Boys like is fascinated with world fairs and the Olympics, and all of them they do this thing where like American culture is so important to all of his books, but also like other countries aren't lesser than in a big way. It's very cool. It's a very like international, worldly way of looking at things, and it's sick. Like this book is a really good
outlet for that as well, because of how, you know, how far Keaton himself goes. Like, first chapter is Greece, this chapter is Italy, right?
Italy. Yeah.
Italy. So like it really gives him the opportunity. Well, that's also like the Golgo 13 of it all too, right? Like it's like Golgo 13 gets deployed all over the world. This goes back to the whole province thing, is like how much of this was Urasawa, how much of this was, Katsushika's previous experience bleeding through. But yeah, like the interest, and I think, and we'll see this later in a couple chapters, the respect that is given, like especially for a book that was coming out around this time, the amount of respect that is shown towards the cultures being put on display here, I would almost go as far as to say it's surprising. It's like,
yeah, no,
I really like. It's the weaker chapters, especially. Like that's the one where I was like, oh wow, this is like handled really well, and I'm like shocked that it is.
Yeah, I don't really have much more to say about 3 besides there's a
three's the funny one, because that's just him meeting up with his daughter. Like it's a stopgap chapter basically,
and one of my favorites, because that's, like I said earlier, that's the Urasawa part where it's like okay, there's a cast here. I want to pull them together. I want to see them talk. But no, two does 2 things. One, this book is, the captions are kind of exhausting at times. Like
it's the explainer manga.
It's not like really good. It's okay.
No,
some of it is like, it's a dad book though, where it's like, here's all the background on this thing that you need to know, and it's like kind of exhausting. But there's one that I really liked where it basically talks about terrorism in Italy as grassroots terrorism.
Yes, yeah.
It's funded by the people of the neighborhood. I'm like, that's sick. Why are you selling me on Italian terrorism?
It's so funny because it takes up like 65, maybe even 70% of the panel too. Like it's
just a giant like, yeah, this is how terrorism happens in Italy. But yeah,
this one, I think the note that I have, last note I have for chapter 2 is like the reveal of his military background is very like John Wick-esque, or like proto John Wick. It's like this very normal guy working a very mundane job is revealed to be this like military savant who's got powers beyond the human imagination. He's got superhuman intellect, and he's able to weasel his way out of any situation. It's an archetype that most definitely didn't start here, but I think in terms of the you messed with the wrong guy aspect of it, it feels very proto John Wick.
Yeah, totally. And I mean Reacher and Bourne, even like all kinds. It's the competent badass.
Yeah. Did you pick that up from TV Tropes?
No, it might be called that on TV Tropes.
Yeah, because that sounds like the kind of like
it totally does. It could be. I was gonna say competency porn, but I've said that so many times that I was like, maybe I'll say something different, and then it became even so generic. It might be TV Tropes. So, but you know what? Competency porn probably is also a page on TV Tropes. So
yeah. Yeah, chapter 3, solid stopgap chapter. It's funny just how pressed he is about his ex-wife potentially remarrying.
And he's so bothered. It's excellent.
Yeah, that's good. And then we've got chapter 4 to... Oh, sorry, yeah.
Oh, no. We can move on to 4. It's fine.
Okay. 4 to 6 is basically one big arc, but 4 is separate from 5 and 6. Like, the threads for 5 and 6 start in 4, but 4 is very much its own thing, where he's just dealing with a forgery. Yeah, this was where I was, like, kind of surprised about the serialized elements of it, like the bit with his ex-wife and him being pressed over the potential for remarrying carries over into this chapter.
Ex-wife is so good. Yeah. Do you have a phone? Do you have a phone I could use? This is really good.
Yeah, this is like, in terms of absent-minded, interest in random things, I think this is a really solid chapter. Like halfway through the mystery, he'll be like, oh, what does this do? How does this work? There's the recurring bit of that launcher. He's like, how does this work? Do you know how this works? I tried using it like this, but it didn't work like that.
Was that really the right way to use this? Yeah.
And it's, as far as gags go in this manga, I think that's one of my favorite ones.
Mm-hmm.
And then, that basically leads right into chapter 5 and 6, which I can really only summarize as Asian guy speaks perfect Uyghur, stuns locals.
Yes. Yeah, that was I was like, I can't wait to talk about that panel in particular. It's so funny. Like, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that it's such a meme, and in particular one that you reference so often.
Y'all mind if a Asian boy laughing. Speaks a little Uyghur?
Yeah, I just was laughing that whole scene because I was like, no. It's real good though.
But yeah, jokes aside though, I think it is. I like these chapters quite a bit. I think they feel very monster-esque in that, like, they feel like the kind of side story that we would see from that book.
Mm-hmm.
The racial sensitivities here is what made me realize that Katsushika probably wasn't writing this chapter, because Golgo 13, a very long-standing, long-running series, very critically acclaimed. Racial sensitivity, not something I would attribute to it. So Viz put out like 13 a la carte volumes of Golgo 13 back in the mid 2000s. It hasn't been reprinted, and so that means they had to choose stories to be put into these volumes, right? Among them, there's one about Israel Palestine, but one of the volumes, at least the ones that I managed to get, has Golgo 13 wearing blackface to get into a Black Panther meeting.
I mean,
and then betting a female Black Panther. It's that was going through my head while I was reading these two chapters.
Yeah. I think the other thing, like we were talking about, the worldliness of all of Urasawa's books, his interest in pulling in as many threads as he possibly can to a thing, right? If the book's about the end of the world, he's going to involve England, he's going to involve the US, he's going to involve Russia, right? Like, he's going to pull all these things to the table, but also like in the smaller stakes where he'll like get hyper specific about a little area of Japan that matters to the story, or a little village in Germany, or that's even like later in Master Keaton. And so like it feels like an Urasawa thing here, especially just like getting hyper specific, getting very centered on like the individual people in the story and why this matters to them. It's just like super his like hyper focus on that kind of thing. It's so good.
Yeah. I think the 6th chapter, or the second part of this story, is really good on its own. Like, it's a very good survivor story. I think in terms of showcasing his military experience, I think it's the chapter that showcases it the most. Also, just a totally baller ender to the chapter. Just the way it ends is just fantastic. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the story being told here, I think it's good. It's solid. Like, the thing is, everything up until this point, I'm like, yeah, this is solid storytelling. If I want to, I took breaks between reading every chapter just because I didn't really feel drawn, I guess, to immediately read the next chapter. But yeah, like 4, 5, 6, I did read in one sitting, and then by the end of it, I was like, that was good. I'm gonna take another pause now.
Yeah. My only other note on chapter 5 in particular is like the dad, the old man. Like it stylistically breaks how people look, and it's so good. It's such a cool choice, and like the whole team. I'm not just gonna ascribe this to any one person, but like really, really, really fully like understanding what they're doing here with that story. It's so good. And like
the eyes especially, like if you look at it's funny because it's like in the same panel you have a character, like you have one of the Japanese archaeologists in the same panel as this guy, and like the difference in the eyes especially is huge. Not even the other weird characters in the issue don't look like he does.
Yeah, even like his son looks different, or like the other leader guy.
Yeah, but his eyes are so striking. Like they really feel like they're digging right into your soul. Yeah,
it rules. It's a great, just incredible choice. That panel of him just like looking up at Keaton is fantastic. I like stared at that for a while, and I was just like, damn, this is comics, baby.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next chapter. This is the chapter where we meet Taichi's father, Taihei Hiraga, and antics ensue. Taichi meets not only his father, but potentially his half-sister, ?
The lady over at the house when he's visiting, and he checks out her ass. It's so funny.
The whole panel dedicated to him checking out her ass.
That whole page is awesome. It's so funny. Well, she certainly isn't the first one.
Yeah. This felt the most like a Yakuza sub-story to me.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's such a... Yeah, absolutely.
It starts off with something... It goes a completely different direction halfway through, and then there's like a nice you get the very classic sad sub-story music at the very end when they're talking about what actually happened. I love this chapter, man. I think it's good. It's good.
It's really good. Yeah, no, the introduction to his dad and his dad's dog is really, really funny. The like this hot girl might be my half sister is hilarious. It's such a funny direction for this whole thing to go. It's real good.
I love Chekhov's Shih Tzu as well.
Yeah.
We introduced the dog early on, and then at the very end we're like, oh wait, we can bring the dog back.
Yeah. And the dog's fun in the next chapter especially.
Oh yeah. I wasn't expecting the turn halfway through with this one, but I'm glad it took that turn. And yeah, good chapter. Good chapter. And then we've got a second part to this kind of, it's kind of a diptych with 7 and 8. And then, like the first part of this was Taichi and Taihei starting to deal with their issues. But chapter 8 really is like the therapy issue of like Taihei and Taichi realizing they suck at women. The whole women thing. They're not. They got some deep-seated problems.
Yeah. As his daughter like telling them that, and them just being like, yeah, well, okay. But like, yeah, no, this chapter, I think this is my favorite chapter of the book, where it's this like series of hyper fixations of theirs too.
Yeah,
that's so fun. The cooking first, and then both just being like, this isn't right. We need something that we don't have.
I love his father just going off to fix the what is it,
he's going to get.
It's the thing that causes the water to actually like change the flow.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and that's like his special interest, and then Taichi's special interest is like trying to figure out what actually was missing.
What the flavor was, yeah.
What the flavor was. I think it's a really good intersection between archaeology and cooking. Like the idea of recipes being passed on, but also like the cultural significance of what a recipe is and like how that can also be attributed to archaeology and anthropology. And also, yeah, it's just a very touching story about like his relationship to his mother, both of their relationships to his mother. Yeah, no, this is another really good one. Yeah.
Yeah. The like ending point from Taichi being like, yeah, mom didn't leave because you were cheating on her. She was whatever about that. Like, she left because she missed home was so good. It's so good. What a story. I loved it. Yeah. And then them building the windmill and irrigation system is also just rules. Again, it's the hyperfixation. Both of them saw a problem. They are like, yep, we're just gonna go fix the problem. And it's like they're so competent at that. But like obviously that doesn't mean they're competent at everything. And it's just good stuff. It's just good stuff.
I also love the mythological aspect of it, like tying it to Persephone and Hades, which is also kind of funny, you know, like with Taihei being the Hades in this equation.
Yeah.
But yeah, two really solid better than solid actually.
These
chapters,
are good enough chapters that I'm like, oh, I would read the other 17 volumes of this.
And then chapter 9 is perhaps the most baffling chapter for me, at least.
Yeah, it comes out of nowhere for sure.
This is in another sense, it is basically like a stopgap, much in the way that 3 was, but where 3 was Taichi, you know, getting to reconnect with his daughter. This is just him dealing with the awful experience of commuting with a German.
Yeah. An old German lady,
yeah, a very odd chapter. I think I couldn't really make heads or tails of the East and West German politics of it. It gets very muddled near the end.
Yeah, I there's a point in like the middle when it's still the story's still a lie, where I was like, what in the Nazi is happening here? Like,
yeah,
why are you still helping her? Like, we're talking about Nazis. I think I took a picture of this socialism. Louise, this country is headed in the wrong direction. It is starting to rot from within under the socialist system, which was after occupation. I don't understand. I don't. That part was a lie though, and it's less muddy at the end. But yeah, I don't know. I think the high of the last chapter got me through this one better, but this did. If you had asked me how long the story with the lady was, I would have told you 2 chapters.
Yeah, it feels
way longer. It feels way longer than it is. And yeah, it's not particularly good. It's okay. We do get a very good crying face out of it.
Yeah,
which is good. And then the building I was talking about earlier, he's like, it took 600 years to build. Like, that's crazy. The reality is probably like the spires, the technology for the spires didn't exist at like year 400 or something, but whatever, you know.
Sure.
Sometimes you just have a little trivia thing in your pocket.
Yeah. And then we've got chapter 10 to 12, which is all part of one story related to a hunter and the hunt.
Yeah. This one's like classic monster. Like,
oh yeah. Yeah.
Just straight
I would go
up
as
and
far
down.
as to call this like the most Golgo 13 of the bunch.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the first chapter of this like trilogy isn't even about Master Keaton. Like, he doesn't show up until the very end of the chapter. Which
they don't have an excuse for him to show up until the end.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bold decision, you know. Like, I think not having your titular character show up until the very end, it almost feels like prestige TV in some ways, you know, like when you have that one character that's focused on people that just aren't the main character, and then the main character shows up like at the very end, which to tie things together.
Yeah, it's almost like a weird premiere, you know, like maybe even imagine, imagine if you will, the first episode of Daredevil season 3. But the whole episode was focused on Ray up until the end, and that's kind of the idea here.
That's pretty much how I'd describe
that's a good description.
It's, you know, it's a former army man dealing with drug dealers. And very hookers. Classic 80s drug dealers and hookers, you know, like that's when I was thinking, like, okay, this is Golgo 13, baby.
Okay, yeah,
you know,
fair. Yeah, in in Monster, it wouldn't be a hooker. I don't know what it would be. Maybe it would be a hooker, actually. Well, that's in 20th Century Boys. 20th Century Boys got, I don't know. With
Monster, it's probably like a florist, you know, or
I think that's literally teacher. Right. Yeah. That's really funny.
Yeah.
Okay. Some bizarre things. Like this is a very straightforward series of chapters. This guy is a teacher for Tai Chi. Okay. It's extremely funny that the prostitute, what's her name? Starts with a C.
Claire? Clara.
For some reason.
Clara. It's Claire.
Okay, it's Claire. I can't believe I'm a name rememberer right now. Why is she naked in the bed? It's not an answer. She's just naked sharing the bed, and they didn't have sex, and they don't. It's very funny. It's very funny.
Hey, you know, maybe she's just one of those people that takes off all her clothes to sleep. Or,
it's fine to do that. Just like not around with a stranger. With a stranger is why it's weird. I mean, he saved her, but like still, again, odd decision on her part. And then they walk by the best graffiti I've ever seen, which is just "fuck you." It's excellent.
It goes from, you know, her waking up naked in bed with him, and he's not naked. He's got a shirt and pants on. Yeah. You know, he's fully clothed. To her offering him cocaine, and then him like chastising her for being a druggie.
It's wild.
Like, it's
a wild scene.
It's a story, all right. You know, it feels like of all of the stories in this book, this feels the most 80s to me. Like, it feels the most of its time.
Yeah,
like. Not quite B movie, not quite A movie. It's like that weird, like that weird midsection between the two. It's like straddling the lines between like a really schmaltzy exploitation story and being like this more sophisticated, you know, crime thriller.
Yeah, it reminded me of Green Arrow. Is what it reminded me of.
Yeah,
was where I like, even during, I was just like, and even other things too, right? They're surprisingly right about the Yakuza stuff. Is like all throughout this whole book, it's like very funny the degree of the care that went into it. But this arc in particular was like straight up that brand of crime story. Especially the teacher, or what is it? What do they call him?
He's just an professor. Yes.
Like even him doing a bunch of crime is specifically in order to like fix the problem is all just feels extremely that sort of brand of 80s crime story.
Yeah.
I also was thinking about like that particular scene in the bed with the naked hooker and him clothed. Like during the scene, I was thinking like, if this was in Criminal, the series, like, how would this work? And it's like, obviously, I don't think the scene in Criminal would take the same path at all because they just be fucking in that series. But it was also like pinged that as well as a comparison point.
Yeah. In terms of art notes, I want to point out that Urasawa draws Swan, the obviously evil former compatriot of our professor here, with like very pursed, Botoxed lips, which I thought was a really funny detail. Not just him, I think, like a bunch of his cronies too.
That's really funny.
You know, it's like, how do we showcase that these guys are vain and evil? Let's just give them lip filler.
That's it's real good. His mustache is funny too.
Yeah, chapter 11 is it feels very middle of the arc-esque. You know, like we were talking about that a lot with Andor. Is like the idea of the second episode of each 3-episode arc feeling like a bridge between the first and third. This feels like that.
Yeah. I like the only smooth thing of like transition there is that it ends with Claire getting kidnapped, like that's the only thing that, and it makes sense that that's what happens, but still.
I mean, and then that going into the real reveal of like who Karen actually is, that's when it really hits that like 80s movie. It's like, okay,
oh yeah,
yes, we need to save the female character and we need to showcase that there is trauma that is, pushing our revenge getting guy to do what he's doing.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, chapter 11 was solid. Stuff happened, and then it ends off pretty well. I think it's the most expected of an ending, I think, of any of the stories. There's some good callbacks to Taichi and the professor's previous history. I do like stories where our protagonist is having to encounter someone from his past again, but in a different context. Like that's it's always a good storytelling device. And yeah, like it was it's good. It's solid. I keep coming back to the word solid because like that's really what this book is. It's not. There's a reason why it's not Urasawa's best
opus.
Book.
Yeah.
It's nowhere near his opus. It's nowhere near like I don't know. I haven't read all of his books. Like I haven't read Happy or Yawara or Billy Bat. So I don't know what the nadir of his career is, but like, if this is the nadir, sure. His worst is better than the majority of manga coming out nowadays, It's a good read. I don't think it's the kind of read that everyone should be racing to read. Like Urasawa has this reputation as like someone who has the 3 or 4 books that everyone has to have read if they really want to be someone that reads manga. Like if you're reading manga, you have to read Monster. You have to read 20th Century Boys. You have to read Pluto. You absolutely have to read Pluto. But I don't think Master Keaton is in that pantheon, and that's okay.
So I think my only thing that trips me up on that is that I think there are large swaths of like Monster, entire perfect editions of Monster, probably 20th Century Boys too, which I like both of those more than I like Pluto. So, but there's large parts of there where I'm just like, this is cool, this is good. Right? This is okay. I mean, it's better than okay, right? It's solid. It's solid,
right?
Is what it is.
Right.
And then there's just points where it's like, oh, this is one of the best comics I've read. You know?
Yeah.
And it's like that's typically Urasawa operates at a level where it's just like, yeah, this is absolutely worth reading all of the time. This is like as good as anything else I'm reading right now, monthly. And then just the way he like leverages whatever he's already written into another thing. It's like, oh, this is actually one of the best things I've ever read. Like this, and it's like he operates on the right length of a thing that he can have those lulls that are just like, this is solid. It buys him time to be able to do incredible things. It's kind of similar to Hickman, or at least Hickman's Fantastic Four, right? Where it's like, a lot of this is good. All of this is worth reading. And then there are moments where it's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is like, you have to remember like so much of these books are being written in concurrence with each other,
which is insane.
So like, yeah,
psychotic.
It's insane. Like the fact that he was writing Master Keaton, or that he was doing Master Keaton at the same time as Yawara, and I think like a couple other books too, is insane. So like when you think about what the lulls are and where the solid portions of those books are, and like if you were to line them up, like could you see that like high point shifting between each book? Like, when it lulls in Pluto, does it start to get like really, really good in Monster, or vice versa? Like I think it's a testament to Urasawa and Nagasaki's skills that they managed to keep all these books going at the same time and maintaining at a solid at worst quality amongst all these books is insane.
Yeah. It would be really funny if all of the hype moments lined up. Like,
yeah, I mean that would be insane, right? Like if you line up chapter by chapter,
you're reading them weekly, and you're just like, how are all three of these firing like that? That's crazy. But to Master Keaton, it's the sort of thing that it's like, all of the other things I've read by him have bought enough of an expectation of me that I'm like, there's gonna be higher highs than this,
Yeah.
And so it's like, I mean, I don't know. That's obviously, it could be wrong, and that's fine. Again, if it stays steady at this level, it's still like, this is pretty good. Like Reacher, It's just like, I'm gonna watch season 3 when I get around to it.
Like this is the book to me. If I have the free time, I'll probably pick up more and read through it. Like, I think it's a solid shelf book. It's a solid book to keep on your shelf. But unlike his other books, I don't know if there is that rush or that race to like actually pick up every volume, and that's okay. That's fine.
I think I agree, especially because I'm like, I have things I want to read that this would interrupt, but it's like it's a gap read, it's like, I don't have anything right now. I'll read the next volume of Master Keaton, and I mean,
even format wise, it's a very easy book to pick up and put down because of how segmented it is, right? Like you never feel like you're losing something plot wise by choosing to drop this for like 3 months and then pick it back up.
Yeah.
At least so far, like who knows, maybe by volume 11 it gets like super serialized and it's just all one ongoing plot. But yeah, it's good book. I'm kind of, it's funny that we had to switch this around for Asadora because of how difficult it is to get physically in the public library systems of the American, the United States. You know what public library system doesn't have that issue? That's right, baby. One. The GOAT, Toronto Public Library. Zero holds. I could get it within a week. No problem.
I think the major reason for that, my theory anyway, is that the manga boom. Huh?
Too many weebs in Toronto?
No. I think maybe, but it's not quite that. It's like the manga boom here is all focused on shonen is really the answer. All the marketing, all of the consciousness of it is it's all shonen. yeah, I never even would have thought of trying the library for any of Urasawa's stuff. Like I've it's always been just like I have to buy this. And that's because like the manga sections of even like small public libraries in my area aren't tiny. They're not like small manga sections, but they're all One Piece, Naruto, like things from Shonen Jump.
Right. Right.
And then maybe some like one volume things that are on libraries. You should get this list, you know, but like, yeah, Master Keaton would never be, I wouldn't expect that at all. Maybe out of San Francisco, to be fair. Maybe San Francisco. I mean, even so,
listen, San Francisco, we say that, but then look at Salt, you know,
no, that's
unable
what I mean.
To get Master Keaton.
Like your expectation of Salt should have been able to is probably fair. Like San Francisco public library system should probably have access to these things. Like that's a failure on their part. But like I think a lot of American libraries probably stock really, really well shonen stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Probably not much Urasawa in general. Maybe Asadora. Just because of the recency, but
yeah, I mean, I part of that is also like I wonder what does that say about the culture, you know, like if it's easier to get, if it's not easy to get something like a Jiro Taniguchi book at all, you know, like what does that say about the culture and like what that means for access and you know, like the proliferation of manga, like, you know, I've gone on about like how much better the manga culture is in France and like their appreciation of that stuff in France, and like how do you foster that in the United States?
Yeah, I think one of the weird things about comics culture here, and this isn't even like in my area, it doesn't. Well, it's weird because like, right, the city San Luis Obispo is like 20 minutes from me. There's 2 comic shops there, which is like wild. But also, those are the only 2 comic shops in like an hour and a half one way. And then I don't even know where the next one is north. And so like, it's this weird, there's probably a lot of comic people there who don't like have a real group or anything like that. Right. But even still, like online comic culture for people who live in the United States, like we segment the comics away from each other, right? Even, you know, we say American comics, not North American comics. We just say American, but like, then there's manga and then there's European comics. And I went to a few French comic book stores and it was like, I have no idea what to buy. Like, I don't want to buy anything in French, like even if it's something that doesn't exist in English, like owning a hardcover of Shudder isn't worth it to me to have it in French, even if it's cool. But like all the comics are there, you know, they're all available in one spot. They don't really segment them off, especially European and American comics or North American comics are literally available. They're next to each other. And then like Big 2 stuff will have its corner. Sure. Yeah. But like Image stuff and Boom stuff gets included in with the European comics. And then like manga has its own area, but that's also because it's a different size and it's the volumes are so long. But otherwise, like you walk into a shop and like you have the availability of all of these different kinds of comics. And I think that's one of the big failures of North American comics culture is like all of these things are comics. They're not different. They're words and pictures. And like, I think it would be better if we thought that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And so like, I don't know.
What we got to do is we got to go to Barnes and Nobles and we got to like start putting manga in the graphic novel section and vice versa.
Exactly. The thought leader is Barnes and Noble, of course. Always and forever.
Yeah, Barnes and you know, if the libraries come second.
The driver of culture. Barnes and Noble is sort of like the burger.
Barnes and Nobles has Barnes and Noble, right? It's Barnes and Noble. We don't have
just the one Noble.
Just the one Noble. Yeah. Not multiple Nobles. You know, they have Starbucks, right? They have Starbucks in there.
Not every one of them, but yeah.
Not everyone. Okay, some of them do. But they all have the Criterion shelf, right? They got the movies, and they got the manga.
They have a vinyl
and the
shelf.
vinyl. See, like that is the corner. What is it? The touchstone of culture. They have Lego shelves too. It's the everything app of culture. You know,
Barnes and Noble is the Twitter.
Barnes X Noble. Barnes X Noble.
I hate you.
Barnes and Noble execs. Come hit me up. I got ideas.
He's got them.
Culture, man, culture. I think it's an episode, right?
I think that's an episode.
Am I not mistaken?
Yeah. We brought it all the way around to comic culture.
Comic culture, as we always do. As we always do. Yeah. And as always, this show is made possible thanks to contributions from viewers like you. How you like that one, huh?
Oh, you got me. You got me good.
Yeah, if you'd like to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/MidnightGrapplerAnimals. $2 a month gets you episodes a week earlier than the public, as well as the ability to vote on future episode topics. And $5 a month gets you not only that, but our entire backlog of bonus episodes and Patreon exclusive series, as well as access to exclusive channels in our Discord server. You can listen to us talk about Andor. Did you know that? And we're going to do it again.
Yeah, a couple more times,
at least by the time this episode comes out, at least. So you can do that, patreon.com/MidnightGrapplerAnimals. You can also support us through morale. Give us a good review on your podcast app of choice. Apparently Apple Podcast is the best place to do it. So if you've got Apple Podcasts, head to our page, give us 5 stars, tell us how we changed your life for the better, hopefully. And yeah, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies. And if you've got questions, comments, suggestions for the show, you can email us at midnightgrappleranimals@gmail.com. And if you want to find the links to our Discord server, as well as our Bluesky pages, you can find that in the description of this episode. Tastemaker's Grab Bag. Keigen, what you got?
I have a bunch of like slapdash comic stuff. I guess I'll also throw this in. I've really only been selling a house and watching the basketball playoffs, the NBA playoffs. So now we're, I'd recommend
the playoffs,
In 2 weeks, it's a whole different world. We'll be in the middle of the finals by the time this episode comes out. But how about the Pacers Knicks game? That's crazy. There's some crazy games.
Crazy stuff. Get yourself what is it? League Pass has access to the previous games too.
Only if you're. Oh, well, yeah, it does. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. League Pass, you can do that.
See, I use the extra legal means of watching my basketball games.
It's I don't know. It's just I like to just be able to like turn on the TV and put it on quickly and not deal with
with like 5 kajillion ads.
Exactly.
That pop up. Yeah. Fair.
And it's mostly worth it. I think it's been worth it this season.
Convenience has coddled the people.
It's true. So besides that though, I have been reading a good amount of comics. So I'm gonna shout, Immortal Thor is finally good.
Okay. Interesting.
Immortal Thor is finally good, and it's convincing me to go back and reread it also. So Immortal Thor is finally good. I'm slotting it in 2 good issues in a row. 1 book issue of the year. I think 22. I think issue 22 is legitimately going to be one of my favorite issues of the year.
Okay.
So it's finally good.
Wow.
It's finally good.
I guess I am picking up the Thor series that's starting fairly soon then.
Yeah. I'm actually excited for it. I think plus Ewing has a good track record of like his refresh series being better than the last one too. It obviously didn't happen with Immortal Hulk, but it's happened enough times in his whole career that it's like, okay, yeah, it's I think that one will be good from the first issue. I'll actually like it from the jump. Another comic that's going on right now is the Iron Man book is actually really good too.
Really?
The current arc.
You're surprising me today, Keigen. You're surprising me.
The current arc is called The Insurgent Iron Man, and he's funding terrorists. It's sick.
Oh,
it's great. Again,
now we're talking.
I think the Iron Man, one of the issues of this arc will end up being an issue of the year. I'm not sure which one yet. But it will. This is a very good arc. Very good what they're doing right now. Enjoying it thoroughly. And then this I haven't read, but I'm just going to give a shout out to this Kickstarter because it seems pretty cool. To search it, it's Everything We Thought Was Beautiful, but it's interviews with radical Palestinian women. New book of interviews with them living across Palestine in the diaspora. So it's like $20, I think. It might be $10 for the ebook. Seems pretty cool. It ends June 20th. So whenever this podcast comes out, I don't know, but it actually ends. Just kidding. June 13th. It's a Kickstarter, so that it ends the 13th. So check it out. I think it's already funded.
Yeah, I mean, it'll still be active by the time this episode comes out on the public feed, I think.
Perfect.
So, yeah. Awesome. On my end, I finished Ultraman Arc. I put it off because I didn't really... I liked it enough for the first few episodes, but I was like, I don't know. I've got a lot of bullshit to keep up with, like the latest Kamen Rider. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit that I need to keep up with. So I put it off. And yeah, since, the new one's coming in 2 months, just a bit over a month by this point, I figured I'd catch up to it, and it's good. It's I was surprised at just how much it skyrockets in quality the episode after I left off. Like literally the next episode after where I left it off, it was like, oh yeah, this is an all-timer. Overall, the villains are kind of whatever. They're really not the point of the series, but it's got some like all-time great episodes, especially near the end. So yeah, Ultraman Arc. I am also going to recommend Tourist Family. It's a Tamil movie. Came out recently. I am always wary about new Tamil movies just because of the state of the industry, and especially when a movie that isn't action focused pops off. I'm always kind of surprised because like, oh, there's an audience for this stuff still. Wow. So yeah, I went into this. It's a very touching story. I think it feels very 2000s-esque. I've been yearning for that actually recently, like movies that come out, not just movies, comics too, shows even, stuff that has like the vibes or the spirit of the early 2000s, but aren't actually like trying to evoke the early 2000s. Like nothing about this movie feels like it's trying to evoke the nostalgia of the early 2000s, but like if you were to slot it in amongst some of the greats of that period, I think you could do so without really, there's some stuff, phones and whatnot, but like, yeah, it's a really good movie. I have no idea how anyone listening to this podcast is going to be able to watch it, but I figured I'd recommend it regardless.
Yeah.
That's a whole other discussion about like accessibility to Indian movies in the West, but yeah, that's it. That's all I got to recommend this week. And yeah, that's an episode. So thanks for listening. And as always,
keep on grappling.
See, if you pause just a bit more, we could have gotten like a really funny, like, how do you mess it up? How do you mess it up when there's only two people? You just pause much longer than you really need to.
Yeah.
If I say,
that's
as
true.
always, and there's like a 5-second pause before you say,